As you find your seat, sit tall through the spine. Take a moment to close the eyes, turn your gaze low. This month's mantra is, keep it simple. This is not a simple pose that we're working with today, but in looking to live simply, we'll take it step by step. Focus on each individual step, and I do think things turn out a little more simply. Focus on this breath. Full inhale. Full exhale. One more breath in. Breath out. Open your eyes, reach both arms up to the sky, look up. Twist, take the hands down along the right side, look to the right, twist the torso. Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. On the exhale, lower the hands, twist to your left. Inhale, lift both arms up. Fold over the center, hands down to the floor, upper body making the shape of child's pose. If you stay in a cross-legged seat here, you should be getting a nice little opening stretch through the outer hips. Okay, and then roll over the legs and change to your full child's pose. Knees part, big toes together. Make this an active child's pose, so be propped up on your fingertips. Lift the forearms, lift your elbows, upper arm bones towards the sky, that hollowing underneath the armpit, and stretch longer from the shoulders back to the waist. And then walk both hands over to the right side. Towards the 2 on a clock face. Walk the hands across the center and towards the 10 on a clock face. And then back again to the middle. Rise up to all fours. Cat and cow. Let the breath flow however you wish. Maybe it's an inhale, maybe it's an exhale through cow. You get to choose. And you don't even have to think about it that much because it's automatic. And that makes it simpler too. And let's stretch into downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet here. Let your head shake a little bit. And now set your feet as wide as your yoga mat. So a wide-legged downward facing dog. And doing that, lift up to the toes, heels high into the air. And then can you send both heels down to the right? So there's a pretty big twist. And then lift both heels up and let them fall over towards the left. And go back to your center. Lift the right leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. Step it all the way forward into a lunge, and you can take a few steps, place the hands under the floor, under blocks, do all the good things to get you into your low lunge here to start us out. Right hand up to the sky, take twisted lunge. Lower the hand to the inside of your foot, spin the back heel down. 2 flat feet, then walk the hands out for down dog lunge. I'm walking the hands towards the left corner of my mat, kind of splitting it there. Now you can place weight down in the hands like you would in downward facing dog, but you don't have to. You can certainly stay lifted on the fingertips and push a little more weight into the back leg instead of the front leg. And then we're going into what I call our Suki dog. It's like a figure 4 shape here from down dog. Come back into your low lunge. We place the hands flat, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Bend the left knee a lot. Point the right knee out to the side. Ooh, feel that in that outer hip on the right side. Into the glutes. Good stuff here. Okay, set both feet down. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Push down through your thumb and first finger a lot. Squeeze in the glutes, lengthen the tailbone, tone the belly. Anytime we're here in plank, your options are to be on the knees or on the toes. And for that matter, you could also go down to the forearms instead of the hands. Okay, but now we're lying flat down onto the mat. Reach the hands back, palms up to the sky, lift everything. Lower it down, make your way back to downward facing dog. Second side, lift the left leg up, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee into the chest, hover forward and step it through into your long, low lunge. Again, taking your time, your effort, landing with feet hip distance apart. Square off the hips, pull the left hip back in space, the right hip a little forward. And then take the twist, left arm up to the sky. Down dog lunge, bring the left hand to the inside. Spin the back heel down. So I like a line heel to heel. It just gives a little broadening there. And then walk the hands out. Again, towards the front corner of the mat. I've got my hands towards the right corner of the mat. And for me, when I'm not paying attention that much in this pose, certainly the front leg sinks and gets the weight. And so I'm using that press of the fingertips to actually lift the hips a little more up and back and get your weight into the back foot. These lunge warm-ups give us a good look at the hips. Nice 360 opening to start class. Come back to your low lunge and then cross the left ankle over the right knee. Bend the right knee a lot. Sit back like you're sitting in a chair. Sit low, low, low. Do flex the left foot. Spread through the toes to get the knee to point straight out to the side. All right, downward facing dog. And then come forward to plank, hold it there. Take in your options, your variations that are gonna work best for your body, your mindset today in the practice. Hold this for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lie flat down onto the mat. Again, hands back behind you, leave them open or interlace behind the back, and lift everything that we can. Shalabhasana, hands open or hands bound. And lower it down. Again, make your way back to downward facing dog. No rush. Once you are there, bend the knees a lot and walk your hands backwards to the feet. One of my favorites, ragdoll pose. Keep the bend in the knees and hang over here. Let a few breaths out. Maybe whisper through the mouth. Hold on to the elbows, sway a little side to side. Just let the body be really heavy here. Slowly roll up to standing. Roll the shoulders up and back a couple of times. Roll the shoulders forward and down a couple of times. All right, starting to feel warm. Let's keep it going. Come up to the front edge of your mat. Lift both arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to plank pose. Okay, friends, this time from plank pose, you hold, or I'm going to give you the option to go down one forearm, two forearms, and then you go back up, hand, hand. We're going to do that starting on the opposite, so I'm going left, then right, left hand, right hand. Continue to hold your plank or continue with that. Stair step down, stair step up, stair step down, stair step up. Toes or knees, do it one more time each side. Try to keep the hips as balanced. The body's going to sway, but we want it as solid as possible. Stay at the top of your plank now. In case you weren't warm before, now I hope you are. Change to downward facing dog. Okay, let's come down to the knees for a minute. Sit back on your heels. I want to show y'all this one. I'm going to use a block to make it a little more accessible and give you the option to do the same. You're going to set your hands up on the block to the inside of your foot. If you happen to have two blocks, use both of them here. If you only have one, both hands on one block. All right, and I want us to get a good glide of this foot, just forward and back, trying to take that huge step into our lunge. You can start all fours, hands on the block. Place your right foot forward so you start in your low lunge. And then we're going to step forward and back 5 times. Step back, like an elevated down dog, and step forward. That's 1. Step back and forward. Step back and forward. For back and forward. Do it one more time. Back and forward. Lower the back knee down to the mat. Bring your hands to your waist. Give our upper body a little bit of a break here. Arms to the sky. Bend at the elbows. Squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades in towards each other as you expand from the shoulders out towards your elbows. Goddess arms. And then stretch it back up. Okay, watch me one more time here. Similar setup, except before I had my blocks all the way to the left edge of my mat. I'm going to try to bring them more towards the center, a little bit more towards the right side to start in that lunge. Watch this. As I go back into downward facing dog, this time instead of stepping to the outside, I'm going to step to the inside, like even all the way off the mat, kind of crossing underneath, and step back. Again, hands can be on 1 or 2 blocks. They could even still be on the ground. And we're going to try that cross under step 5 times as well. Starting this time back in downward facing dog, take your right foot, step towards the left edge of the blocks, and then back. Step towards the left edge of the blocks, crisscrossing under the body and back. 5 times. You can find your own pace. Step under and cross, and back, under, cross, and back. Lower the knees down to the mat. Give your hands a little bit of a break. Shake it out as needed. And we'll do those 2 sets of exercises on the second leg. So you're probably lining your blocks up more towards the right edge of the mat. So you can start with the left foot forward in your lunge. For the sake of showing it, again, this could be hands flat down on the ground, and you're making those steps back and forth. Try it 5 times. It's also giving us a little bit of knowledge of connecting core with the range of motion. 5 steps, forward and back. Go at your own pace. Try to make it one giant step, see where it can get to. And if it falls a little behind the hands, don't worry about it. Still just stay with just one step. And then this time, you change the hands, change the blocks, what's needed to go right into the cross underneath. So now the left foot will try to step under to the right side and back. And I mean like sort of under the body. My hands flat on the floor. I'm trying to connect my right knee, nope, that's my left knee, to my outer right arm bone. Once you've done 5 or what you can do, let's take it down to child's pose and give ourselves a full stop. That's the first stage, or one of the first stages in the arm balance that we're practicing today. So we want to see how that comes in first. And then knowing what you have from there, let's go to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. And step it all the way forward to that lunge. Come up to high lunge. And I know I missed a lunge there with the back knee down. I've got it planned for a little bit. In a little bit. Okay, warrior 2. Spin the back heel down. We open the hips, shoulders to the side. Gaze out over the front fingertips. Try to straighten the back leg, pull up on the knee, tone in the quad. Reverse, take the palms up to the sky. Right hand high, left arm down the back leg. Nice side bend in the torso here. And then come all the way back down, cartwheel hands on either side of the front foot. Step back to plank. Flat down to the mat. Cobra, peel the chest up. Nice back bend here. Squeezing the glutes to stay strong there for low back. And then change to downward facing dog. Okay, lift the left leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. Step it forward into your lunge. Here's where we get then that goddess arms on the second side. Lower the left knee down, lift the arms up to the sky. Bend at the elbows, squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades in, but try to broaden from the tops of the shoulders out towards your elbows. Breathe with it. And straighten the arms back up towards the sky, parallel to one another, and lift your right knee off the ground, then you're into your high lunge. Ready for our second side, warrior 2. Spin the back heel down, extend the arms out. Again, what's happening in that back leg? Lift up, strong and steady, keep it straight. Gaze out over the front fingertips. Turn the palms up to the sky. Lift the left arm high. Right arm goes down your back leg. Now that front knee likes to wane in and give the pressure into the big toe. Don't let it happen. Push the pressure out towards the pinky toe side of your foot and widen the left knee still. Okay, cartwheel the hands down around the front foot. Step back to plank. Lower down. Cobra, you can even go for up dog here. Lots of strength practice coming in. If you want to add even more, it's up dog, straight arms and legs. Everything but the hands and feet are off the mat. And then let's all make our way to downward facing dog. Look forward to your hands, step or jump, front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Little bit of moving balance work here. Take the arms out. I want you to have enough space. We're just taking the hip circle in first. Stay on one leg and do 3 inward hip circles. Same leg, take it out and around. Out and around. Try to pull up and stabilize in the core. So the wobbling, bobbling is a little bit lessened. And then we'll want to do it on the second side, 3 inward circles. I've got the hands out just for balance. You can place them however works for you. 3 outward circles. Great, go back to that first side, whichever your first leg was, and place it on the leg for tree pose. So I've got my right foot on the left leg, tree pose. Whatever your first side is fine. Extend the knee straight out to the side, so we're getting that full outward rotation in the hip. Maybe 2 breaths longer than you want to stay. We've done it. Lower the arms, lower the leg. Tree pose on your second side. Place the foot onto the leg. Anywhere above or below the knee, always a good spot. Hopefully I say this enough, but we skip the knee because I do want pressure from the standing leg to push into that lifted foot. And we wouldn't want to be doing that play against the knee joint. Arms overhead once you're ready. Again, staying what I feel like is just a little bit too long today. Take 1, 2 breaths more. And then we'll release, set it down. A little bit of a shakeout. So all month we're working with the Yoga Hour Sequence 4, elements of that for this Wednesday peak pose class. I want to take us through a few of the things that we've done in the prior weeks. Go to downward facing dog here. We've been working on plank, side plank variations. Let's get into side plank. Right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Stack your feet and lift the left arm up to the sky. And right away, you're taking your variation so that this is simple enough to keep going. And then 1 step at a time. So if your first modification was foot forward, try stacking the feet. If you're already at stacked feet, try top leg in tree pose. do push your bottom foot flat on the ground. So I'm no longer on the edge of the foot. I've got my entire foot flat on the ground, and that makes this tree pose, side plank, actually easier to sustain, I think, than the stacked version. And then trying to keep the leg in tree pose, turn to full plank, both hands down. And here's what's really going to help us today. Can you point your knee down towards the floor and lift the opposite arm up to the sky? Even trying to keep the bottom knee off of the ground just an inch maybe. And then go back, downward facing dog. Go right into the second side. Use the lessons that the first just brought us. Left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Either step the right foot forward, kickstand. Does some good work to get in a stretch through the IT band of the top leg. Or you're right into the stack. Okay, again, the stack of the feet. We're kind of on the edges of our feet. So being able to take the right foot and change it into tree pose, and you push the left leg into the right foot, should lift your hips in a way that then sends the entire left foot flat on the ground, making that side plank a little more sustainable, less weight, less pressure in the left hand and shoulder. Take it into full plank, point the knee straight out to the side as much as you can. And then side plank again, right hand, left foot to the mat, left arm up to the sky. Again, just trying even an inch to pull that right knee off of the ground. And then change to downward facing dog. Lower your knees and sit back on your heels. So if you've got that knee down version of side plank, and you're able to lift the right knee off of the mat, the bottom knee off of the mat, should engage in the core in the same way that you need to carry that through into the arm balance that we're working towards step by step today. It looks like this. Again, just watch. If we did our knee down version of side plank from tree pose, then what was asking for earlier in the class with the use of the blocks, step the foot through. Now you've got a twist. The top arm is going to go up and down. And I'm going to ask you to do this a couple of times. Bend the knee. Each time you bend the knee and come forward, change my angle. Each time I cross, bend the knee forward, I'm going to try to create this connection of outer thigh to outer arm bone. Let's give it a go. So the way we're going to start here is we're going to breathe. Downward facing dog. Okay, I'm going to turn the left foot flat on the ground, right hand flat on the ground, and try to take the right leg into that bottom side plank tree pose formation. And then step the foot through. You've got the twist. Take the left hand across as well. Try to match outer arm bone, outer thigh. Bring it back. Do it 2 more times is all. Bring it across. Try to match. And back. Your arms are likely burning here. Across, twist, and back. My God, right? Any questions? It's a doozy. Second side. Yeah, we do what we can. Think stage by stage. So we've got to get into that knee down version of side plank first. I've Got right hand up, left knee down. Step through the left leg to cross the right arm over. Maybe it doesn't go to the floor, but you're working into that deep twist and cross. And then back. Do it 3 times if possible. Cross and back. And then cross and back. Downward facing dog. Let's walk our hands to our feet so we can get off of the hands for a bit. Hold on to your elbows. Sometimes I like to hold on, interlace the hands behind the head here. Do what gives you a little bit of relief. And roll it back up. Okay. Let's forget about that pose for a moment. Walk back up to the front end of the yoga mat. Stand tall in mountain. Lift both arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward. Step your left foot back into your low lunge. I'm going to take us into triangle pose and then into twisted triangle pose. If you want a block handy for those poses, make sure it's there at the top foot. Spin the back heel down, but turn the back toes in a little bit. About a 70-degree turn in. All right. Push the right leg as straight as it'll go. Hand can pop up onto a block or up onto your fingertips or up onto your shin. And then with the left hand on the left hip, try to turn and open towards the side. Gaze up towards the sky and lift your left arm high. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Legs as straight as possible, arms as straight as possible. Breathe. You walk it out stage by stage, step by step. Left hand to the left hip. Point the hip more down to the floor. Change it all the way back to your low lunge. If you used a block before, you'll definitely want it here for the twisted variation. Twisted variation, we're taking a slightly shorter stride and place the back heel flat down onto the yoga mat. Now the hips have to stay facing towards the front short side of the mat here, but do make the right leg again as straight as you can. Pop the left fingertips up to the waistline. Keeping right hip drawing up and back, left hip trying to circle around and down. We'll take a twisted variation. Left hand goes to the outside of the foot or onto your block or leg. I like the block. Right hand, try to stretch it up towards the sky. This, my friends, is the same twist. Woo, and it's a lot of work that happens in the arm balance that we're working on. So keep it simple. Think just of this twist. Can I keep my hips square and a tone and turn in the abdomen to open the chest even just a bit towards the side? Okay, and then walk it back, and again, low lunge here. Switch, second side, so left foot forward, right foot back. We've got regular triangle pose first. Spin the back heel down, back toes turn in somewhat. Left hand to ground, block or leg. Do make the left leg as straight as possible. This one should be a little easier than the twist because the hips don't have to stay square. Now you get to lift the right hip off to the side. Lots of space for the torso to breathe and open. Right hand up to the sky. If you feel like you're leaning forward, bring your left hand higher on your block or leg. Try the hand on the outside rather than the inside of the foot. And then a switch up. Right hand goes to the waist. Walk it all back to your low lunge. We pick up the back heel. All right, block, if you're using it, still stays on this pinky toe side of the foot. A slightly shorter stride. And I'd say the biggest form mistake I see in this pose is taking a lot of a shorter stride, which is going to make that twist harder. I'd rather you stay in a longer stride and have trouble getting the back foot flat on the ground, so that you still have a little bit more room and space to give length for the torso rather than blocking it off. Left hip, draw it up and back, right hip around and down. Right hand goes to the block or the floor on the pinky toe side of your foot. So that's that reach across that we'll see for EPK 1. Try to draw the left hand up towards the sky. And it's, of course, not just the hand, not just the arm, not just the shoulder, but that originates from movement of squaring the hips and a full tone and turn in the abdomen. You'll back it off. Step to downward facing dog. Blocks out of the way. And take the knees down to the mat. Hands to the waist. Come upright to kneeling. Last week, we worked with gatekeeper pose and some other side bending measures. Let's just visit it shortly here. Take the right leg out to the side. I'm trying to mirror you guys now if you happen to be watching. Right leg out to the side. And today, we're going to turn the toes so they face the same direction as the knee. Squeeze the inner thighs in. Reach the opposite arm up. Lean it over to the side. Walk your right fingertips down towards your right ankle. Big lean. And then bring it back up to your center. Take the right foot in, extend the left leg out. We're looking to keep the line of right shoulder, hip, knee. So you're not leaning away or falling back. Turn, this feels like a flexed foot to me, a turned foot. Lift the opposite arm up and lean over. Right hip and knee still trying to stay stacked on top of each other here. Okay, then bring it back to center and to two knees. So all that good long length and side bending help us get into our twist. Come down to all fours. Tuck the toes, lift your knees off of the ground. All of my pauses are just like, this is all hard work, so I'm catching my breath too. Tuck the toes, knees off the ground so you're in a little bear crawl. I know this one's so many of y'all's favorites, right? You're gonna walk in a little bear crawl, knees over towards your right hand, and then back. And then a bear crawl, walk over towards the left hand, and back. Walk back towards the right hand. Now can you set your thigh and elbow to touch one another? Pause there and walk back. Walk it to the second side. It's a bend of the elbows. Try to make the outer thigh and the outer upper arm bone and elbow touch. And then back. You come down off of the hands here for a moment. Again, a little bit of Simon Says. So that's one version. The second version, we're going to try to stretch the legs out in either direction. I think if I go this way, it'll give you guys the best view. It looks like this. We're walking over towards the hand. You're trying to set down, and you either stay with that stage, or I try to crawl 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Everything is still, hands and feet on the ground. And then I'm going to try to crawl the feet back in and walk back. The stage after that is getting the feet off of the ground, flying. Okay, so let's do it stage by stage. In the brain, keep it simple. Do the first thing first. It's bear crawl first. Knees up, and you're holding. Second stage, walk the knees and feet over towards the right. Third, make a shelf in the arm so that you can set the left thigh onto the right arm. Good to go? Walk right leg back, left leg forward. Right leg back, left leg forward. Stretch it out as much as you can into that twisted lunge version. And then the legs walk back in and back to the initial bear crawl. You can go right into the second side or give yourself a moment's pause off of the hands. When you're ready, you do each of the stages. Walking right foot forward, left foot back, and a deep twist in the torso. And then it all comes back into the bear crawl. Thighs burning, shoulders burning, everything relax. The strength component's getting there. Will wear us out before we get to the pose, right? Take a drink of water, give yourself a moment. Okay, so we're taking all of these little different steps into account. We're going to do one more Simon Says. I'll show the whole pose. And we say, okay, I'm going to do as much of that, knowing what I know, as possible. Don't overthink this one. So now I'm going to tell you, instead of thinking stage by stage, let them all blend together and see what pops out of it. You can go through that bear crawl variation or the big swing and step underneath. We're trying to have the shelf of the arms and the legs as straight as we can as we lean the head forward and down and the legs up in the air. You know you've gotten at least halfway there. Go for it. Try your first side. Sometimes I set a block or a blanket down for a head crash point. Feel free to. Wiggle about. Everybody finds their way slightly differently. All of the stages help us understand the physics of it, the hard work that goes in. When you've tried both sides, give yourself a moment in child's pose or just a seat back on your heels. Breathe. And then if not already, do bring your torso upright so you're sitting back on the heels. You can be up and kneeling if this is better for you. And then take a nice easy twist. Look over the right side. And look over the left side. I hope we can see through those different stages that within working the arm balance, it's also asking for a ton of work in the twist of the upper body, a good range of motion and form in the hips, letting each of them come together. As you're back in the center, then sit down onto your butt, stretch the legs out in front of you. Lift the arms up to the sky. Fold over your legs. Good old Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Do it your favorite way here, what's going to feel nice to you in response to the work that we've just done. And then bring yourself upright. Let's slide to lie down onto our back. Set the soles of the feet to the mat. Point the knees straight up to the sky. Nice, easy bridge pose. Take your hands down to brush against the heels. And I say nice, easy, not that it's an easy pose, but that I don't want you to over effort it here. Think of this more like your cool down. So bend at the elbows like you're making bookends over your belly with your hands, and then lift your belly into that space. Lift the hips up. And lower it back down. And we'll do that a couple more times with the breath. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, lower down. This is one way that I find can bring more gentleness to bridge pose. Just keep it moving up and down. One more time for good measure. Lift up and down. Hug just your right knee into the chest. Extend the left leg down along the mat. Okay, the same ask, the same twist, but we no longer have to weight bear on our hands. We're just taking the right knee across the center line of the body over to the left side. So a really big full stretch, giving us an idea of just what a difference it is to weight bear. Take the hands straight up towards the sky. Flex the wrists like you're trying to stand on the ceiling. And then where we realize the arm balance is still quite difficult, supine. Try to lift your head and shoulders off of the mat. Maybe even hover your feet up off of the ground. That's a lot to hold on to, even without putting weight on the hands. Full gratitude to yourself for all of the work that you put in all before. Pull the knees back into the center. It's too much work that I don't have the right words. Hug it in. All right, simple stage by stage. Second side, we hug the left knee in, right leg down. And then cross over. Left knee goes over the body towards the right. While the hips are trying to twist one way, torso's trying to twist the other way. We've got all that good work happening. Arms straight up. Maybe hover both legs off of the ground and lift the head and shoulders up. Imagine how when we were weight bearing, trying to get into that, we were matching the outer thigh and elbow. Okay, lower it down, hug both knees into the chest. We're really done with the hard work now. Take happy baby. If you don't like happy baby, just hug the knees into the chest instead. Take the arms out to a T shape and drop both knees over to the right side, so an easier supine twist now. Just letting everything be heavier, falling towards the mat, onto the mat. The knees go across, lie them down to the second side. Okay, from here, I'm going to do one more big reach. Arms overhead, legs long out in front of us. And then make your body like a shape of a banana. Send both feet over towards the corner so that you curve the whole body. Arms reach towards that same side. One more good length and side body stretch after all the twisting. And then go to the other banana side. Back to your center. Here is your time. Add in any last bits of unwinding, a yoga pose, just a little wiggle, whatever you need. And from that unwinding, find stillness for Shavasana. As always, Shavasana, you pick your pose. It can be lying back on your side. Take a seat, whatever works. You keep the power. Draw your awareness back to the one simple task of watching your breath. Inhale, exhale, repeat. As you bring the awareness back to the breath, take in a little more movement. Come back to a seated position if you're lying down. Add one more simple stage to that breath component. Palms together, thumbs to the sternum. Add your voice to the breath and our closing sound of Om. Listen, join in, tune it out. Exhale. Inhale. Bow in full gratitude to yourself, each other, this practice. Namaste. All right, yogis.